Yo, it's Guido coming at you with the Tactics Talk, guys. Welcome back and happy Thursday. Should be Thursday morning at 0700, bright and early, and it is moi in my ELC Even 90. And we are going to talk about today, don't chase bad money with good. All right, we've talked a lot about how to analyze the match lately. We talked about how to go back to cap if your cap is threatened. If you want to flank, go back, how to assess those things, whether to push, whether to flex to the middle, those kind of things, whether to meta flex, okay? But we're going to talk about not chasing bad money with good. And what I mean by that, we'll get started here. I'm in my ELC 90. We are on Erlenberg on an assault. So I'm going to go to a flank, and I'll just let this develop. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to go to the flank. I'm in a scout, so I want to get to a nice scouting spot. I have a couple options on this particular map. I can head over here and get up onto this ridge. Take a look at what's coming over here to the east side. The east side is a bit of a sideshow on this game. We did have several scouts, and I noticed that they were spawned over on the other side, and they started headed that way, so I just headed this way. All right, no sense for all three of us to be over there, really. And I just want to take a look. You don't want the east side to completely collapse. I would rather have a couple people over there helping me, but you're going to see how this thing develops. But at least with a fast tank, a fast medium, or a scout, you can go over there and take a look to see what's going on, maybe get a little SA. The other option is, like I said, to go over here to the west side. The Bat Chat and the LHM TV, I believe it is, yes, are headed over that way. You can get up onto these ridges by the castle and get some pretty good spotting that you may actually get some shots. The links, there is a great counter scout / position right here that unfortunately the south spawn does not get. The north spawn can get into some bushes here. Light guys crossing here, and the north guys get all kinds of shots on them. The only corresponding ability to do that is to get your scouts up here fast enough from the south side and light them, and maybe get some guys down on these buildings to get shots. But those buildings are exposed to the red guys shooting down, so it's not as good. Now, we got off on a little tangent on discussing this map, but it is imbalanced in that way that the north spawn has a big advantage nuking these guys. All right, so we're gonna head over here. Again, look at what's going on this flank, and I think you can already tell right off the bat that nothing good, right? Nothing good is happening over here. I see that, I hit help, but that's probably not going to get me much of a reaction. I'll give it a shot. And then I see the LT-432, and he comes in deep, so to speak, and he knows the jig is up, right? He's come up. He's not catching any slow heavies or mediums out in the open or anybody here. He sees me, the little ELC. He might have even seen the ISU, and I know that this is just not a tenable position. So I am not going to chase bad money with good, right? I could have gone back up there, maybe try to find the LT-432, but to what end? Who's going to shoot him? One arty, that's it. There's one arty, and the ISU has already said, yeah, that's probably not a great idea, and he is correct, sir. You are correct, sir. I actually kind of like that he posts up there. At least there's somebody with a big gun back here, and maybe if the 432 saw him, now he knows there's a ISU kind of hanging back there. So I'm going to completely change the plan, and that's what I'm talking about on not chasing bad money with good. The east side is bad money, folks. There's nothing good going on there. I can't help it. I can't do anything about it. I don't control the other 14 guys in the team. They decided not to go there, so there you go. And in the past, I would have stayed there and tried to watch the flank. And while that's not necessarily a terrible idea, what I saw, and here's where the analysis of this comes in, what I saw was this massive push over on the west side with a couple of the heavies in the middle, which is good. And I went, okay, look at this push. And I started heading over there, and I said, all right, if this is going to be one, we're going to gobble up the west side. We're going to fold back over to the middle, and that's actually a really good overmatch that I can work with. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'd rather have somebody over there watching, but you know what? This is more of an organized kind of gameplay, right? You send all your fast guys and mediums and fast heavies over here, you gobble up a flank, you cover the middle, and now you're folding over. And whoever they sent over to the east side is not doing anything very much right now, right? So that works out. And you have to recognize it and notice it, and then you have to make the decision. It's easier, I would say, as far as the motions go, to be in a light tank or a medium, right? Because they're fast and they can get around and do that. But you can still do the same thing in a heavy. Had I been in a heavy, I might be in the middle. I might not have got all the way over to the west side, but at least I headed that way. So I dive in there and I light up the Scorpion. I actually hit him with one of those shots. And the other two go one into the ground and one into space. The 6x6 is doing a pretty good service for his team. Hopefully that Scorpion dies soon. There we go. By making sure that he lights us up and keeping us from really diving in there. So I made a run and came around. And now I'm assessing it and looking at, okay, that was actually pretty good. But we lost some guys doing it, right? We lost the LHM TV, the 8.8, a heavy, and they only lost 3 guys, but we've got a pretty good position. I look down into the southeast, and I can tell that we have an issue there because the LT has pretty much doped out that there's nothing going on in the east. So we have to be careful for the old merry-go-round, right? They may have a good force of their mediums and things and lights and whatnot coming around from the south, but we've knocked out a couple of them, and now we're folding over into the middle. And as I'm looking at this, I go, okay, there's a Lynx up here somewhere. Let's find him if we can. There's an Artie back there that got spotted, but unfortunately wasn't able to be killed. And we've got in the middle some near-dead heavies. So we'll come in here with that little autoloader and pretty good alpha, and really we'd like to get rid of the 6x6. So because this thing has such fantastic camo, I'm actually able to sneak in there. And we'll just drop him, which is beautiful. A couple guys hit him, gets him down to a one-shot. We'll get rid of him. That is one of those things as a light tank player, or even really any player, mediums and light tanks especially, but light tanks specifically, because as you're going around and you're trying to gobble up near dead, you have to make those decisions on when you're going to fire and potentially get spotted. And that was a point where I felt like it was worth getting rid of the Artie at the risk of potentially being spotted, and then I'll move on out of that. Okay? Because I know that a good number of their heavies are in the middle, kind of busy right now, right? They're being beat up by our heavies. The LT-432 is way in the corner, and that leaves maybe the AT-15, and that's the guy I was really worried about because he fires so fast. It would be a real bummer right now if the AT-15 was kind of hanging out right there, but that's a chance I took. I kind of knew that, and I don't see him. I wanted to hit C and reload, but I could also tell that we were going to get into these guys here and then potentially the heavies. So I catch their light tank. That was a great kill. I needed him dead. And now I'm going to sneak in here, and of course this thing is so small, running into brick walls just slows it down. So we'll come around here and we'll try to find him. I was curious if he was looking at me, but he wasn't. We're able to down the T-34, and now we're on a reload, so we'll back out here and try to get some cover. I'm still worried about the AT-15A. We'll find him in a little bit. I don't know where he is right now. I have 0 SA on where he's gone, but as I look at the list of tanks, the only thing we're missing is the LTTB and the AT-15. I can see where the other 3 are. They're right here in the middle. Down goes one of them. So we'll move back around here and we'll get into these trees. And I find the Knarchen sitting right there, and that's a juicy target. Once he goes sideways with no angle, that makes it even better. I'm going to try to sneak back onto his tracks. Don't quite get it right. This thing doesn't have great dispersion. I actually light him on fire, but he's got an auto kit or very fast fingers. Crazy flipping fingers. There's the AT-15A, and we're up to 1,100 damage and 1,300 assist. And now we're in their backfield, really just, it's clean up on aisle 2 at this point. The weight of guns is too much. It would take a fairly heroic effort by them to win, and once they lose their LTTB, the Pershing went into the very back. It's pretty much all over but the shouting. I get reloaded. I'm going to get ready to do some shouting. Now I am going to, approaches are very important. I've talked about this a lot. I know the AT-15A is up on this hill. I also know that I can cover up a little bit with this windmill depending on where he is and which bush he is in at the time. I'm glad he wasn't kind of sitting in that bush looking, but right now I think my camo is keeping me unlit. I use those trees on purpose. Now I come in, that can't be helped. Somebody else spotted him, and he looks like he either didn't have line of sight on me or my camo was holding up, which worked. And now I'm coming in unspotted in from behind. So as opposed to blitzing straight across the field and going after him, I take a slightly circuitous route, not too bad. Now I have to be careful with this because look how fast. If he'd have just turned and spun, and his gun is nearly on me, in fact, he might get a shot. I know that these things have really good azimuth, okay, field of regard with the gun. You can see how far over it is. It's already pointing at me. And he's backing up and turning, and had he just spun and turned, probably would have easily got his gun on me. The one thing about backing up and turning that's helping him a little bit is he is covering up a little bit and starting to use this building here. So I need to close the distance because the closer you are, the greater the line of sight you're going to generate as you're moving from side to side on this guy. Like if I am 400 meters out, Even though I'm going full speed, it doesn't take much to keep your gun on, right? If I'm 4 meters out, moving at the same speed, that's very difficult to keep your gun on. So I want to collapse, do two things. I want to try to stay to his side as much as I can, but I want to collapse the range. And those two are working against each other a little bit right there, but it's better to get a bit close. And now you can see he's getting his gun on, and I don't know if he takes a shot. No, he doesn't. Show you what I'm doing. There we go. So I just take a couple. I just allow the auto aim to do its thing, because really it's more important for me to keep driving around this guy than to specifically aim too much. I might have been able to track him. I'll tell you something about these AT-15s though, and the A-15 or whatever the other one is. I have had not very much success in tracking these guys. I should have rammed him. That would have been a lot of fun. I should have just come around and just rammed him, tried to break his track. But I don't have a lot of success in hitting those sprockets on the front or rear end. And maybe because they're armored or something, I'm not sure. But I always have issues with the ATs tracking them. I don't know why. From the side. From the front's easy because the track's right there. All right, guys, there you go. Do not chase bad money with good. There was nothing good going on the east side. I could have stayed around a little longer, but when I saw what was going over on the west, I figured I need to get in on that action over there, help these guys roll them up, and then we'll worry about what's over on the east. This map is split. Again, that's another thing about this particular match. This map is split by the river, and it's basically two halves controlled from the middle. And as long as we had the middle sorted out, let's just gobble up one side or the other, and then we can work our way over there, because it's going to be very difficult for them, if they hadn't sent a lot of guys up to the northwest, to react to it, because they've got to come all the way back around, cross the river, try to cross the river in the middle, which ain't happening because all our heavies were clogging that up, or drive all the way to the south and try to cross the river. Again, something very difficult to do in time when we had such a huge swarm going on over in the east, moving up, or sorry, the west, moving on into the northwest. So I wanted to throw that out for you guys. You know, sometimes it's hard to see. This one seemed obvious because of how few people went to the east, but I also wanted to discuss the thought process and then what the follow-on moves were, because that was in my mind when I did that. I said, okay, let's gobble this up, and I kind of know what we have to do. We have to Pac-Man up to the northwest. We have to fold back to the middle if it's losing, or maybe come from the north back to the middle if we're winning and we're still holding the center right there. Gobble up what's there, and then whatever remnants are left, we'll take them on. Of course, we have to watch, like I said, at one point, if they have the big glob Pac-Manning down in the northeast and then coming up from the south into our guys from behind, we'd have to watch that. And that's what's, again, a nice thing about the fast mediums and light tanks, is you can react to that as well. So I hope that helped the guys. I hope you like what you saw, and maybe you learned something. If you did, throw me a subscribe, follow, whatever it is. That's all I've got for today, and we will see ya.